Good evening, welcome to Apex Racing TV and BSR Radical Thursday. Lee Thompson here with Alex Simpson, as is tending to be the case these last few weeks. Imola this week, what a cracking circuit for these radicals to try to negotiate. I say cracking, probably more cracking the suspension of the cars as they try and deal with the curbs through the different chicanes. It's a tricky one for these radicals. They are not going to be enjoying it out there at all. We're coming towards the end of qualifying, and it is looking super tight at the front, Alex.
Yeah, hello everybody. Good to be back as always. I think you are right. It is going to be tough for these little radicals around here. Such high curbs. It's going to be very tricky to master them. Keep it quick. Obviously, the fixed setup. They've got to work with that in the places that it's good, and work with it in the places that it's not. And drivers that are doing it right now, Kane Halliburton, very quick time, but I have to say, looking at Sven Glatzel, it's 0.00 difference on my timing screen, so super close. Like you say, there must be in the thousandth that he's quicker. Nicole Foggy, just a half a hundred, 500ths of a second behind as well. So like you say, that's crazy close. There's only half a second back to Johnny Brandon, and then there's 200ths back to Dan Webster. So the top five looking particularly tasty tonight. How that's going to transfer into race trim, I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure we're going to enjoy finding out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be another one of those races of attrition for the guys out there tonight. We're going to see lots of individual, not necessarily even errors, but lots of individual spins and issues as they try and deal with the curbs and the bumps. And there's lots of changes in camber as well on this circuit. Very tricky for the guys to negotiate. I was quite concerned that maybe we'd have a huge field spread between maybe like the top 5 cars and the lap time they were able to put in compared to the rest of the field. But actually, to be fair, it's looking fairly even as we go down the grid. So not too bad from the guys. Certainly, I was struggling to get a lap in at all for the hot lap video for this week. So yeah, good on the guys for knocking them in there. So we've got half a second or so between third and fourth, but after that, that's looking very close the rest of the way down the field. So I think we're going to be in for some interesting races. Qualifying is wrapping up, so just a couple of minutes we shall get just a couple of moments rather, we shall get our grid come up and we shall see exactly where everyone is lining up. I've got a black screen, Alex, is that...
Not this end, I have to say.
Yeah,
sorry.
you may be taking over for a second, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Just waiting for the final few cars to cross the line then before we could bring the grid up. Kane Halliburton actually just improved his provisional pole position, so he put in 137.66 right at the death there, so gives himself a 0.2 of a margin. And Dan Webster just improves as well. He put himself in a 138.18, so just sneaked ahead of Johnny Brandon for that 4th place and 2nd row spot. So good final lap from Webster there. I think that is it. Maybe just Kip Stevens out on track at the moment. Countdown timer is going to tick through, and of course he will be timed out. Doesn't look like Kip is going to set a time, so we're just waiting for the session timer to expire and give us our official classifications for this one.
Cool. My screen cleared just after a couple of seconds, so all good. 3 races, of course, tonight as normal, guys. Race 2, race 3 going to be reverse grids drawn by our grid wheel at the end of the previous race. I think that's going to be a real tough couple of races there for the guys to have to get their way through the field and back into their true pace position, if you like. Of course, one of the old school circuits, it's narrow, it's bumpy. The thing I found really tricky this morning working on the car was the compromises on some of the lines you had to take. So many quick entries into one corner followed by a slower entry into an opposite corner. It's going to be a real technical circuit for the guys to work their way through, and lots of fun to see.
Yeah, indeed it is. Thanks for that follow there. That just reminds me, we are obviously streaming on 3 platforms tonight as well. So on Facebook, Twitch, and on YouTube for all the people watching, or maybe watching this back afterwards. Don't forget to like the video. Well, only if you like it, of course. Yeah, if you like what we do here, me, Lee, there's all the other guys as well, then hit that subscribe button, the bell icon, so you get to know when we're live. Like I say, hop on over to Twitch. We're slowly building the channel up over there as well. Subscribe there. There's going to be a few different things going on over there in terms of sort of point of view streams for the team moving forward as well, not just broadcast. So yeah, it can be exciting times on there. So yeah, do go check it out. Over to you, Lee, really, for the grid, mate.
Yeah, so Kane Halliburton then takes that pole position, and in the end, he put in a slightly quicker lap just to move ahead of the cars behind. So he ended up nearly 2 tenths ahead of Sven Gatzel with a 136.655, pretty much bang on my guess of a mid 137 for pole position. So yeah, Sven Gatzel then in second with Nicole Foggy lining up in third, directly behind Kane Halliburton. That's going to be interesting as they head towards the first chicane, turns 2 and 3. Fourth place then for Dan Webster with Johnny Brandon in fifth, Jack McIntyre in sixth, Jamie Ayres in seventh, Jack Ashton 8th and Paul Crabb in 9th. Hiver revs up, so I'm going to quit. And so off the line already, jump start from the front of the grid there, I think was it. Jack Ashton has decided to scamper off ahead of the field, so we'll ignore him for now as they all head to turn 2 and 3. Looks like Sven Glatzel is the car in the true lead, followed by Foggy, and Halliburton got a bad start.
Yeah, I don't quite know what happened to Ashton, but I think he done the right thing. You know, when you just get that little jump and you know that you've got a penalty, the worst thing is just
got to keep going.
It just makes it far, far worse. So just go, get in. He's got a chance in that build a little lead if these guys squabble, but he's out of that and he's got a chance to salvage something out of the race. So.
Absolutely. So top 3 already then, trying to break away slightly, even though with this switch that we had Kane Halliburton going from pole position to third place, last spot on the podium. Then we got Johnny Brandon 4th, Jackie McIntyre in 5th, Dan Webster 6th, Jamie Ayres 7th, Paul Crabb 8th, Sam Fitzpatrick 9th, and Richard Warmingham in 10th after Jack Ashton takes his penalty. Oh, spin for Kane Halliburton. So just about keeps that wall, going to get away without any front end damage. But that was coming up over the crest. That is such a tricky section of the circuit again, as he's just come off the previous chicane, trying to get on the power. Done well to make it just a half spin in the end.
Yeah, didn't touch the wall or anything, so he'll survive and fight his way back. He's a quick driver, we know, obviously, with that qualifying time that he's got put in there. So he's down 19 spots for this one at the moment, so we'll see how well he can recover. Of course, 20-minute first race, and Ashton
comes in.
Yep. I'm surprised he came in straight away. I would have given it the 2 extra laps, to have to say, to try and build up against, like, you know, his rivals that would naturally fall back with just the race.
Oh, here comes Foggy on Glatzel. So Glatzel taking the inside as ahead towards turn 2. Foggy going to try and ring it around the outside, but he has to tuck back in the end. Glatzel takes his line. Yeah, I wonder at the end of the lap there how close the Glatzel and Foggy had got to Ashton. Perhaps he was concerned that he was going to interfere with that lead battle and wanted to jump out away maybe. We can see the top 6 cars now breaking away from the rest of the field. Paul Crabb, the last car in that group, as Richard Warmingham recovering from a spin. Must have been coming out of turn 3, I guess.
I think there's a few drivers involved in this, so starting with Sam Fitzpatrick, 3 wide going in. Oh, get involved in it. I think everyone's just checking up, actually. Yeah, Sam was involved in it. Oh, and that was Warmingham basically being a bit of a pinball there, wasn't he?
Yeah, it looks like McIntyre got well and truly up over the rumble strips on the inside, and launched himself into the path of the other cars. So yeah, they are all going to be struggling with major damage, I think, as they continue through. Looking at Nicole Foggy then, as he's trying to hunt down Glatzel. Just lost a little bit on Glatzel actually in this lap, 8 tenths back now. So he's falling into the grips of Johnny Brandon, his teammate behind. And Dan Webster look right in amongst it as they take very different lines on the exit. But yeah, Dan Webster looking like he's going to be making the move on Johnny Brandon as he comes towards the end of the lap.
Yeah, Webster looked good in quality, I have to say. Confidence, built his confidence up over the course of the 15 minutes. Put that good time in right at the end, and yeah, it's right on the tail of these guys.
Yeah, so that's our top 4 then that we can see in shot. Glatzel, Foggy, Brandon, Webster. What kind of slipstream are the guys going to see? Foggy's closing to within a 10th of Glatzel now as they head towards turn 2. Who's going to be making a move? Glatzel ahead we can see on the inside. Foggy then on the outside. Is Foggy going to appear? He's not. He backed out of it. Glatzel holds the position but runs deep. Yeah, Foggy's going to get the run. Can he go through Tamburello? He can. Just about holds onto the edge of the track. Glatzel struggling from Brandon as well. Just about defends from now. What a great move from Foggy around the outside of Tamburello to get that lead spot.
Yeah, he needed to go, didn't he? That was a good opportunity. The mistake really from Glatzel just went in there a little bit deep. It's easy to do there, very easy, just
Yep.
to miss your braking point by half a metre, and that's kind of what it does. It pushes you off there. The curve is really severe there, so you want to try and avoid it so that you don't get you know, really shoddy run off there. It can upset the car. So yeah, Glatzel did well to not get in there, but unfortunately, yeah, just it killed his momentum. And yeah, Nicole alive to the situation and jumped on it and capitalised. Great move.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, Webster looking very, very strong already, challenging Brandon again as they come towards the slowest section of the circuit. Oh, a little bit of locking, and Webster just tips Brandon into a spin, gets a little bit of contact for his troubles as well. Brandon definitely coming worse off, but we'll see what damage Webster has. I think Webster might be collected again. That's unfortunate.
Of that, I think, yeah, that's just some people coming in a little hot there, I think. So
Yeah.
let's just watch it back again and see exactly what happened there. So had a little look, pulled himself out of it, and then it was just a tiny touch, enough to get Brandon around, and then Brandon's just sat on the racing line, and then trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, tricky spot to end up.
I have to say, I mean, most people would say you've just got to wait, you've got to be patient, you've got to hold your brakes. There's nothing you can do, and of course, it's all over the shop. Let's get the car over to the left.
It was doubly unfortunate. Sorry, Alex. It was doubly unfortunate as well because before Brandon got that extra hit again, it looked like Webster was running offline further up, perhaps waiting to give the place back to Brandon. That was my initial impression anyway. And unfortunately, of course, Brandon caught up in that further damage and no chance of that anymore. So yeah, Foggy then still 7/10 down the road from Glatzel. Glatzel's got a little bit of space now, 3 seconds to Webster in third. And now we've got this battle for the end of the top 10. Halliburton trying to come through the field. Halliburton's moved up to 9th from 20th, where he spun to after the first lap. So yeah, Halliburton at the front of the queue, then Leslie, Fitzpatrick, Murray, Warmingham and Stevens as they all head way down the back end of the straight. Super quick left-hander here. Track drops away from you on exit as well, using all of that curb and the AstroTurf, as you can see. And yeah, Fitzpatrick looking like he's trying to make a move on Leslie.
Yeah, and that was Warmingham moving up a place there as well on Murray. Murray was the one that used all of the Astro on the exit, but like we say, Fitzpatrick looking quite racy, pokes his nose out just for a little second, perhaps just to spot the braking points in the apex.
I think Leslie struggled as well. Yeah, Leslie just struggled. Sorry, Alex, just struggled on the exit of chicane there. So yeah, Fitzpatrick's got a really good run. It's going to be tough to get the car stopped. He does. Can he get it slowed down enough for the apex? You run out to that outside curb as well, but he can. And yeah, makes that position. So that was all from the previous chicane where I think Leslie was a little bit hot going in and got a poor exit out. Now he's under pressure from Warmingham as well.
Yeah, Warmingham looking good, recovering. New fastest lap of the race from Nicole Foggy as well. So he's just extending that lead out front. So great drive from him. Oh, that was a mistake from Warmingham.
And it's Fitzpatrick.
Take Sam out as well.
That was unfortunate. Fitzpatrick saw that coming, slowed right up, but it wasn't enough to avoid contact.
Yeah, exactly.
Warmingham, as you say.
If he'd have nailed it, he might have been all right. I don't know. No, but Richard just got it all wrong. It was almost like he didn't brake at all. So.
Yeah, it's tricky. And again, I wonder also how much difference there are on some of these corners. So like turns 2, 3 there, where I'm saying it's this fast corner in and then a slow corner going the opposite way out. I wonder how much difference there are with planned entry speeds for these guys. Someone looking to take the first part a bit more aggressive or a bit less, and it's really going to catch the other driver out. And maybe we're seeing a little bit of that in the race now as Paul Crabb defending from Jamie Ayres for 5th position as they head out the back of the circuit.
Sure, you're being far too nice, like you were to Webster earlier. Personally, I think Webster just got a slowdown penalty, because you do if you go wide there earlier on. And I just think, Richard messed it up, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we've seen a few of those sort of incidents now already in this race. We see the cars in the pit lane getting those repairs from their incidents. We've got 4 cars sat in pit lane, 19 cars still technically running, but some of those with some significant damage, I would suggest. Nicole Foggy's pulled out nearly half a second on Glatzel since we last looked. Webster still 3 seconds behind in third. And then, Paul Crabb, as we saw a minute ago, is the first battle that we've got with Jamie Ayres running just half a second behind. Otherwise, Halliburton looks like he's going to be making a move on Jamie Ayres anytime soon for 7th and 8th position.
Look up
Yeah, here we go.
at that
So
one.
Macaulay as well. Yeah, Macaulay just at the front of that pack. Just very different line going into the hairpin there. Runs wide much earlier. I wonder how much of a better drive Mayers is going to get off that corner. He is. He's going to almost get to him before the chicane, or before the left-hander, sorry. Get my circuit muddled up. But yeah, just about holds him off. You can see the damage on the back of Mayers as well there as he's in the middle of that pack. Doesn't seem to be causing too many problems for now, but Halliburton surely is looking for his moment where he's going to make these 2 spots up.
Yeah, down a loss of 7 spots from the pole position, so it was 19 earlier on. Might have lost somebody else as well. Anthony Jacobson might have just had an accident and jumped to the pits. I'll just have a quick look at that, see what that was about, and then we'll switch back to that battle. Where was this? On his own, catches the curb, the sausage curb on the inside, and then just a death wiggle into the wall. Hard.
Yeah, I was trying for a very long time to correct that tank slapper, but as you say, it was just always getting away from him. Right, so here we go then. Macaulay going to have to defend down the pit straight from Mayers and Halliburton. Let's watch this slipstream effect again. As Mayers goes very wide through the middle of the pit straight, trying to maybe just break up the toe slightly. Going to take a defensive line as I head towards turn 2. Mayer's going to go around the outside. Halliburton going to dive down the inside, make it 3 wide. Halliburton, that is brave stuff. Too brave, takes all 3 cars out. I think Mayers is going to escape the best out of that. Didn't look like he really got any damage, but that looked like maybe a desperate move from a desperate man there. Halliburton, we know he's got the pace, but he's just not had the run of luck in these last weeks. We've seen a number of instances, some his mistakes, some get caught in other instances, and that was an all or nothing there for Kane. It looks like he has retired out of the race.
Yeah, unfortunate, but I think perhaps he's foggy up front and knows that he needs to try and mitigate the points loss here, but yeah, in the end, foggy flirting with the edge of the sorry, that was Paul. Yeah. The green cars mixed up.
Yeah, Paul Crabb just about hanging on to that car there. Did well not to have that come around him. Once this Radical starts to go, that pendulum effect really does want to take effect. But yeah, lost that spot to Jamie Ayres, and we'll see if he can claw his way onto the back of his gearbox with the bit of slipstream again. So really, these little incidents have broken up the field massively. We've got this little battle we're watching now between Ayres and Crabb. Otherwise, we've got Kip Stevens and Paul Denton just half a second, 1 second apart. Fitzpatrick, we know, has got damage back in 11th place. He's just a second or so behind Warmingham. And otherwise, then it's only Jack Ashton who is running right at the back of the field in 14th. Half a second behind Jacqueline. So yeah, just these little individual pairings of fights at the minute as we're just over halfway through the race. Yeah,
Ashton, obviously after the penalty, finds himself in 14, so next 6 places lost. Oh, a little twitch as he goes in, just locking up the rears as far as I can tell. Jacqueline ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of it... Sorry, Alex, again. I'm doing a good job of cutting you off today. I don't know how much of it is the default setup that the guys are running here and how much of it is a track, but it's very, very sensitive to rear locking, particularly this week. I mean, it is a sensitive car to that anyways. We can see Ashton going up the inside as they approach turn 2. Jacqueline, how hard is he going to defend? Not at all is the answer. Can Ashton get it slowed down? Runs a little bit deep, but not enough for... Oh, Jacqueline trying to get on the power, has a little spin all on his own. But yeah, rear locking is a real problem here this week in these cars. Very, very tricky for the guys to have to cope with.
Yeah, I have to say something I just couldn't handle. I hate rear locking, you know, even in, say, like the Formula 3 series last night. I always take the set that the guys have, and I'll take an extra percent, maybe even 1.5% of brake bias or kip, and just to add that to that so that I feel a little bit safer on the brakes. So with the fixed setup on this, are you able to change the bias or not?
Do you know what? I did not even look because I just had the word fixed in my mind and presumed that that's not an option.
They're introducing that, you know, you can, with these fixed, well, the fixed official series, you can now start to change things. And I think even like Kip maybe disconnecting. No, he's sort of there.
Trying.
But yeah, even in the IndyCar, apparently they're opening the fixed setup up so that you can actually change like the ARB and the jacker on the fly as well. So the setup is
Strange.
fixed, but the some of the in-car adjustments are being unlocked now, which I have to say I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe one of the retired drivers sitting in chat can confirm if they know that's the case or not, and then we shall report out. But yeah, not sure. That's an interesting one to consider for next time. Yeah, Macaulay then just pulling away now from Stevens after Stevens had that issue a lap ago at chicane, just about gathering it up. We've got Jamie Ayres just 4 tenths ahead or so of Paul Crabb, still 4th and 5th. Yeah, here we go. So Crabb has managed to claw his way onto the back of Ayres again after his little half spin, a lap or so ago. He goes very, very wide out onto the back straight. But yeah, this race just fizzling out a little bit for now, just mostly thanks to those little individual areas we've seen that have just taken out one or two different guys. Chris Cash tells us that yeah, fixed setup. You can change the brake bias. That is very annoying. I've been doing my hot laps and not knowing that.
Now you know. Here we go. Webster then to the outside of Glatzel as we head into turn 1. Glatzel good on the brakes, always is. Gets a little bump on, and again, but Webster just not got the right line to really capitalise on that and get the drive off the corner as they head into Villeneuve.
So yeah, so where has that come from then? So Glatzel and Webster all of a sudden on top of each other. They were not a couple of laps ago. So Glatzel must have had quite an issue. It was 3 seconds or more last time I looked. So Webster now really challenging for this second spot. He's got 3rd place secured, 9 seconds to the car behind. So really that can maybe allow him to go a little bit more aggressive as we come into the last 5 minutes and go for broke for the 2nd position.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he looked good in qualifying. Car looked good, and he just kept getting quicker and quicker, putting in quicker and quicker lap times. So confidence is building, and yeah, of course, he did have that little coming together, didn't he, with Brandon that set them back, of course, a fair way. So definitely showing really, really strong pace. I mean, the last lap it was a 39.9 for Glatzel, and the leader was 39.1, so it was a little slow. But Webster was a 38.9, so absolutely flying right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, if he can continue this pace, he is going to be putting himself in a very strong position to get in that spot. Closing a little bit as we come down the front straight is not going to be enough to challenge into turn 2 this lap, but he's going to have a couple more attempts. 10th and a half by the end of the straight, so he was 4 tenths, I think, at the start of it. So that's what he needs to improve on if that's where he wants to make a move. Takes a whole chunk of curb on the first apex there, but gathers it up nicely. Just lost a couple of attempts again through there.
Referring a bit of a Murray Walker statement. It's one thing to catch, isn't it? It's another to pass. And the longer you stay behind, the more you start to fall into the rhythm of the driver ahead. And this is why, really, Webster, it needs to be this lap, I think. Otherwise, I think Glatzel will sort of settle in and going to be able to defend this one for the final few minutes.
Sorry, Alex. Paul Crabb, Jamie Ayres looking very close. So it's just dropped back slightly now, but we're just a 10th and a half separated. I think Paul Crabb got back ahead of Jamie Ayres whilst we were away. Yeah, here comes Ayres now, just a 10th behind, trying to use that slipstream, drag him up the hill, dives out to the inside. Can he get it stopped? Oh, I thought there was going to be contact. Just about backed out of it early enough. Crabb survives. Ayres has an opportunity for another corner.
Did well to actually get out of that, considering he just hopped over the inside curve there and it pushed him wide. But yeah, he just, like you say, didn't push it too much. And here we go, side by side though, for 2nd place. Webster to the outside, forces Glatzel to the end. This is what he wants though, so he's nice and close coming off the corner. 4 tenths, of course, last time. 3 tenths this time. Got good drive too, instantly closing in. Got that slipstream. Surely this is our best opportunity.
Absolutely. Glatzel going to have to defend now as they come to turn 2. Already a 10th behind as they cross the start-finish line. Glatzel holds what is going to be the inside line for turn 2. Webster trying to have a look around the outside. Who can get the car stopped into this quicker first part of chicane? Glatzel gets it turned in. Webster just a little bit late backing out of the corner. Glatzel survives as they come out of Tamburello and head towards the 2nd chicane. So, yeah, that was we could see how that slipstream in effect, that 3 tenths that Webster had entering the pit straight was what he needs to challenge into turn 2 there.
Yeah, it looked to me like Webster, and he can perhaps confirm this, but looks like, damn, maybe a single screen user there, because he turned in very conservatively on Glatzel, left, you know, almost 2 car widths to the inside, where I think if he'd have just squeezed Glatzel a bit more, there's plenty of room. He would have been able to complete that pass, because he would have had the inside for the next part of the chicane. So yeah, I might be wrong, probably on VR or something like that, and you know, that's just as close as you wanted to get.
No, I'd say certainly looked like he took it very cautiously going in, but I said it enables him an opportunity at least to try again. Then are they going to get this lap completed? 19 minutes 25 gone of the 20-minute race.
I think so. Foggy's the one, isn't he, that'll count, and he's coming downhill now, so yeah, he'll get through. And that's a long old straight down there, but we'll get there. What are we, 20? Yeah, 20 seconds from here. It's only, what, 10 seconds, I would say, even less than that.
Cool. So it just about squeezes out a final lap. That's going to be one more opportunity for Dan Webster to make a move on Glatzel, for Jamie Ayres for Jamie Mayers, in fact, to make a move on Jamie Ayres, because Ayres has dropped back from Paul Crabb by 10 seconds, so he's had an issue at some point. As here comes Webster on Glatzel then, not as close as last time by, braver on the brakes, much closer turning in, but yeah, just wasn't in position that time entering the front straight. And then the other battle we've got still is Kip Stevens and Sam Fitzpatrick, just 3/10 separating them.
Look at this one then, Mayers and Ayres.
Yeah, he's closing.
Run is, Mayers does cover it up, pretty much like Glatzel has been doing. Can he brake as late? I don't think he can. Oh, that's good. That's exactly what Webster should have done. Just turn it in a little bit earlier, have the commitment and the confidence that the driver's not going to run into you. Oh, coming back though, Ayres having a little look. He just can't quite get alongside. Good overtake. And Stevens and Fitzpatrick also very close, but Sam not able to get a move done.
Yeah, as you said, great move around the outside into turn 2 there for Jamie Ayres. Fitzpatrick still trying to challenge a little bit on the back of Stevens as they come through. Oh, there we go. Stevens very slow on exit. Fitzpatrick's got an opportunity. He makes a dive up the inside. Can he get it stopped for the hairpin? He can. Stevens could possibly drive around the outside, but he's still going to be on the outside now for the next corner if Fitzpatrick has got the speed to hang in there. Is Kip Stevens going to try and just throw it round the outside? He's not. Fitzpatrick takes that position. That took a couple of corners work to get there. Right, Nicole Foggy then completes that last lap, takes the win, almost lights the flag, got the position done at the very start, and then Webster pirouetting over the finish line. Glatzel apparently having a problem. He dropped way back on that last lap and finishes in that 3rd position.
I think we need to have a look at that. Sorry for the other guys coming across the line, but yeah, that's important as it was for second. Oh, just loses the rear going in. That's exactly what you were saying about with that bias.
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
didn't tell Sven that you can adjust it as well.
I mean, you've got quite a lot of camber there on the inside of that hairpin, trying to pull you around. As Denton and Macaulay, 1700ths of a second between them, and Denton just about gets that spot over the line. But yeah, unfortunate for Glatzel there. Had that second position pretty much the whole race, and just pipped at the end. Just worked on that pace trying to defend Webster as long as he could, but as you said, Alex, Webster just seemed to have those lap times in his hand.
Yeah, he did very strong all the way through. Who else were waiting? Birmingham's finished. Birmingham ended up, even with his little incident, staying exactly where he started, so that's not too bad for him. We've got Murray and Carl Yacolet still to cross the line. Here we go. That's it.
Okay, so that's race 1 completed then for BSR Radical Thursday night. Nicole Foggy, as we saw, taking the win from 3rd position on the grid, wasn't it? Lining up behind Kane Halliburton. So, as I said, got that spot done in the 1st lap and basically didn't look back from there. So 7 seconds in the end was the gap to Dan Webster behind, as we saw spinning across the line in celebration. Sven Gatsoven, commiserations, but still managed to get that final spot on the podium. Only just finished ahead of Paul Crabmine in 4th, so Paul Crabb almost nicking that spot off Sven Gatzel there. Jamie Mayers finishing in 5th with Jamie Ayres in 6th. Paul Denton then in 7th with Eamon Macaulay in 8th. Sam Fitzpatrick in 9th with Jack Ashton in 10th. Richard Warmingham in 11th with Lorne Murray in 12th. Carl Jacquelet in 13th. Kip Stevens in 14th. Kane Halliburton 15th, 6 laps down. Anthony Jacobson in 16th. Stefan Leslie in 17th. Johnny Brandon in 18th. James McRitchie 19th. Steve Hefford 20th. Jack McIntyre 21st. Luke Cooper 22nd. And Carl Hardy was our last classified finisher in 23rd spot. A little bit of a smaller field this week. I wonder how much of that is due just purely to the circuit. It is, as we've seen, quite a challenge for the guys to negotiate. What was it, 13 laps that they managed out there tonight?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think when it's like that, it does put people off a little bit. So I'm not surprised. And you always see like the really popular tracks; they're always stacked, aren't they? So I think we'll see slightly better numbers next week. So right, rid of that because it's time for me to spin the wheel. What we need is to introduce the bet bot, don't we, for the wheel spin? That's what we really need.
Okay, that's my task for next week. Done.
Yeah. Who cares about where you finish, first, second, or third, or anything else? We need the wheel spin bet bot. Right. Looking at the numbers that really affect us here. I mean, there's some small ones on there. So 10, 11, 13, 12. Those come out. Could be interesting. But any of the higher ones is not really going to make too much difference. Did have a few retirees in the end. But right, here we go. Let's give it a spin. Well, it is one of the smaller numbers that we can get, 11thly.
So 11th position then, that will be Richard Warmingham taking pole position for race 2 of the evening. And that will mean Jack Ashton will be lining up alongside him. So yeah, change of fortune there for Jack Ashton after that jump start in the beginning of race 1. Right, so we shall be away for some adverts whilst race 2 is all set up. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, of course, Apex Racing TV. So go and sign up over there, follow and like, and we shall be back in just a few minutes. Lee Thompson here again, bringing you another hot lap in preparation for tonight's BSR Radical Thursday, this week from Imola. So real technical circuit for the guys to have to negotiate in this Radical. Lots of compromises to be made with racing lines. You have fast entries leading into slower corners, and let alone the curbs on this circuit as well. The Radical just does not like dealing with them. So here we are then working our way down towards turn 2, first chicane. The braking marker on the right is going to be the 100-meter board, down into third gear. A little bit of curb on both apexes, but just avoid the rumble strips, and after that should be flat through Tamburello here if you get your line right, and you're preparing then for Villeneuve next chicane. Super quick entry, but it's tricky because you've got to be then slowing it down for the second part. So that's one of the compromises with your racing line as to where that balance is going to be. Down into second gear at the 50-meter board, hug the inside of a hairpin as long as you can to drive out using that camber of the corner, working your way then up towards turn 8. As you come over the crest, brake marker again is going to be the 50-meter board, just down into fourth gear. Let the car turn in and then try and get hard on the power as soon as you can, but you've got to allow the car to run out over the rumble strip. Super tricky braking again here. Fast entry, like I said, slowing down for the second right-hander, down into second gear, driving it out off the crest, and then you've got a real tough chicane come up with Varianta Alta. Down into second gear at the 50-meter board. I just couldn't use the curbs on either side, but look how much the car is bouncing around, even though I just barely touched each curb. Super tough for the guys there tonight. Coming down towards the end of the lap now then, turn 14 and 15 coming up, two left-handers. Early braking downhill. It's really tricky trying to turn in, missed the brapex on this one, using all of his curb on the outside look, and then the same for this final corner as well. Driving off towards the start-finish line, and that is going to be a lap done at Imola. As I say, I found it really tough here today. It's going to be a 1 minute 38.7 for this lap. I reckon the guys are going to be probably a second quicker than that at the sharp end of the grid. Expect a 37.5, I think, for pole position. So Apex Racing TV tonight, 8:15 for BSR Radical Thursday.
splash. Three, two, one, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Clapman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Looks to the outside as Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though. Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the Paravolca. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the Paravolca. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Welcome back to Radical BSR, or let me start again. Welcome back to BSR Radical Thursday. There we go. Race 2 for the evening. Lee Thompson here with Alex Simpson. Guys are just finishing up their warm-up session, and then we'll be ready for our reverse grid race 2. Paul Denton, no, it wasn't Paul Denton, he's just showing number 1 right now because it's a practice session. It was Jack Ashton in second, and can you remember, Alex, who was on pole? I've got myself into a hole. We will find out in a minute who it was that was starting on pole position, but Jack Ashton in second.
I can't remember.
I dug myself into a hole there. No. Anyway, so it'd be interesting to see how this race goes with the reverse grid. As I say, it was tricky enough for the guys in race 1, where, you know, in theory they should be in pace order. Race 2, dealing with this track, the bumps, the curbs. I think we're going to see some difficult racing ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right. Pretty much what we saw first race, really tricky. Just a quick shout out, guys. We noticed that the sound was slightly out again. I wondered if you can verify on the in the chat. Just let us know if that's the case. I'm just going to quickly reset it again. Just are all okay. Don't quite know why it keeps falling out of sync, but it is. Hopefully, it's going to be okay. Right, grid coming up on screen any second.
Richard Warmingham, god damn it. So,
Yes, it was.
So Richard Warmingham on pole position for race 2. Jack Ashton, as I remembered, lining up in second. Sam Fitzpatrick in third with Eamon Macaulay in fourth. Paul Denton in fifth with Jamie Ayres in sixth. Jimmy Mayers in seventh with Paul Crabb in eighth. Sven Glatzel, podium finisher from last race, starting in ninth. Dan Webster in 10th. Nicole Foggy, race winner from race 1 in 11th. Lorne Murray then in 12th, Carl Jacquelet 13th, Kip Stevens 14th, Kane Halliburton 15th, Antti Jacobson 16th, Stefan Leslie 17th, Johnny Brandon 18th, Shane Ritchie 19th, Steve Ever 20th, McIntyre 21st, Cooper 22nd, Cole Hardy 23rd, as the safety car leads us off for an unexpected rolling start.
Exactly what I thought, so that's probably not a bad call, if I'm honest.
Yes, it'll be interesting to know later on whether that was expected from the participants or whether that was just a nice surprise all round. But as you say, maybe not a bad shout with the tricky start to the lap, turn 2 and 3. So there's only a very short safety car run, and safety car already about to peel off into pit lane. Warmingham leading the pack as they wait for the green light to show to start race 2 for the evening, BSR Radical Thursday. Warmingham gasses on the power straight away, leaves Ashton sleeping a little bit. Fitzpatrick just having to hold back slightly, and Fitzpatrick's going to have a move on Ashton for P2. So here they come then into turn 2. Warmingham leading, and Fitzpatrick on the inside of Ashton for second. He's got that position secured. It looks like Macaulay looking to dive up the inside as well. Oh, gets contact with Ayres, I think it was. Fortunate not to take out anyone else, I don't think. Everyone else carries on cleanly, just those 2 cars. But yeah, Macaulay just trying to stick his nose in a little bit there, got caught up, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was something right at the very back as well. I just saw that was even on the straight, so I don't quite know what happened there, but someone involved in it. Dan Webster dropping down. Is that just a poor exit? Might have been. And Halliburton up 6 spots already. How has he done that?
Yeah, cracking start from Halliburton now, as you say, already up into the top 10, and he's put himself in quite a strong position with the other, race contenders, if you like, around him. Just a couple of spots behind Foggy. Here, tyre squealing behind Halliburton. That was Webster. Webster's almost spun on that corner behind there, Alex, and just about holds onto it. Loses just 1 spot, it looks like. So,
yeah, this little mid-pack seems very, very close right now. So the Halliburton, and then you've got sort of where Webster is, Ayres, Hefford, and then Brandon. I mean, they're side by side. Good battles right now in these opening lap. Oh, someone blocking up as well. And around, who's that? That is Paul Denton around on the inside there. So, yeah, issues for Paul. Someone slow on the inside.
Yeah, slowdown penalty for Jack McIntyre there onto the pit straight. Must have just cut over the inside curve, presumably. Back at the front, Ashton and Fitzpatrick. Ashton on the inside this time, Fitzpatrick on the outside. Reversal of the first lap. Can Ashton get it slowed down? He can. Fitzpatrick not quite going to get enough of a drive to come back in. So yeah, good move from Ashton there, straight back up into second place. warming them up ahead, hoping this squabble for second is going to continue, so he can try and build as much of a gap as he can early on in this race.
Yeah, Rich was quick in the last one. You think he had that accident and he come back through to where he did, which was 11th. So he's got some pace out there. So like you say, if they battle too hard, he is going to scamper away. The gap is 2.18 now as well.
Paul Crabb spinning on the exit of the hairpin, dropping all the way back to the back with
Murray
as well,
that was involved, yeah. There's Brandon. Good fight though. Just behind those on screen, that's Yacolet and Webster.
So yeah, field's really split into two at the minute. The second pack is what we're looking at here, 8th place back. The front 7 have all broken away 4 seconds down the road. I think that was mostly from Webster's spin. That was where the breaking point was last lap. As a car straight on at the chicane, must have whacked the curb something chronic and just couldn't get it turned. James McRitchie then of Craig Setup Shop, who is severely damaged up the front end there. You see him testing the steering, trying to get a feel for it. Let's see how he does into this left-hander. Oh, it doesn't look too good.
No, it does not at all. So, yeah. Get it in, get a quick repair, and get out, I would say.
Yeah, so tough start for a number of the guys already in race 2. More carnage as right at the sharp end as well. That was Jack Ashton and Glatzel, I think it was. More contact with the cars behind as well. Just getting caught up, and again, that was lucky he spun in that direction and not the other way across the track there for Jack Ashton. He now retires. So here we go then. So yeah, we're looking at Ashton, Fitzpatrick, Glatzel and Brandon, I'm guessing. Yeah, it was Brandon. Here we go. Ashton on the inside takes too much curb. And yeah, that's just what caused Glatzel to run into vacuum. So easy mistake here with the curbs on his cars, like we've been saying all night. And Glatzel, the victimless party there. So unfortunately for him, that means Fitzpatrick and Foggy now battling for second. Where did Foggy come from moving through? Halliburton just behind him 4th. Yeah, Sam Fitzpatrick, we know he's not going to defend that hard from Foggy. We've spoken to him before. We know Sam Fitzpatrick is just playing the percentages, but he is covering him off for the moment. But second position and up ahead. Warmingham clatters over curves as well. Nearly does what we saw James McRitchie do a lap earlier, but it looked like he kept it out of the wall. So Warmingham lost a little bit of time there. Foggy outside of this corner. Inside of this corner, outside now for the penultimate corner. Can Fitzpatrick hold his line? Or just pushes out a bit, but Foggy was alert and makes that move. What a cracking bit of driving from both of them then to avoid contact. Foggy up to second, Fitzpatrick third, and now he's going to come under pressure from Kane Halliburton.
Remind everybody, we are live on Twitch and Facebook as well. So yeah, hopefully if you're not a fan of the of YouTube, go ahead over to there and subscribe and follow us on those channels. Support us here and support the league as well. Share the love, and let's get some more eyes on this series, because we've had some great racing, and it'd be good to get a few more drivers back into this one as well. So down to 23 for tonight. It'd be nice to get those numbers back into the 30s. So Radical, fix that up. Good fun Thursday night. Myself and Peter, we were talking last night with a similar event, obviously with reverse grids in the F3. Now, when you have these reverse grid races, it really does make a whole night of it. You know, it's a fair few hours of driving, bit of practice in there as well. So it's yeah, certainly a bit of fun. It adds an interesting element to it. If you haven't done any reverse grid racing before, jump in, get involved.
Yeah, definitely good value for their entry fee that they get here in the Radicals. And a Radical is a cracking car. I'd say suited to some circuits better than others for sure, but it's always going to be lots of fun to drive. We can see how quickly Richard Warmingham is being drawn into the clutches of Nicole Foggy in second. Fitzpatrick still defending from Halliburton, so he's doing well to hold him off for nearly a lap now. But yeah, Foggy just bang on a second behind them.
Very quick. A couple of purple sectors creeped in for Kane Halliburton that last or this lap, so this could be a good lap time. Oh well, I said sector 1 and his final sector for the last lap. Quick, so definitely got the run on Fitzpatrick in the background while we're just still focused on Foggy. Let's switch that up and see if he can get the run. Sam doesn't defend the inside, so
no,
he's going to try and stay with, I think, Halliburton best he can, use that slipstream. Foggy with the purples. Purple lap time here. I was talking about Kane, and now nowhere Foggy puts in a 113. Wow, that would be impressive. 138.6. So very, very good. These guys are actually, Kane and Foggy are exchanging fastest sectors right now. My timing screen is going purple all over the place. And talking about my timing screen, let me share the link to our Apex Racing SDK live timing. And yeah, you guys can see that info as well.
Yeah, so Halliburton, as you say, got that move on Fitzpatrick. Foggy in position to do the same on race leader Richard Warmingham. XVR teammates, of course, but Warmingham for sure isn't going to want to just hand that opportunity for a race win to Foggy. So he's going to defend hard, but it's going to be a tall order with then Halliburton surely following through as well. Fitzpatrick, as you say, didn't defend too hard from Halliburton earlier on, but he knows he's still got a decent shout of a podium spot with the 3 cars up ahead squabbling. Who knows how it's going to come. Foggy takes that spot off Warmingham. Warmingham does just allow him through, and yeah, Foggy takes that spot in the penultimate corner. Nice bit of synchronized teamwork there to not really lose any time. And I wonder if Warmingham's really going to do anything to make life too hard work for Halliburton. He might not have much of a choice as Halliburton is closing pretty quick as we come down the front straight. Right, so here he comes in. Warmingham does stick to the inside. He's making Halliburton go around the outside to turn 2. Foggy also, let me continue with Halliburton around the outside. Beautiful. Halliburton sweeping around the outside. Beautiful. I was about to comment on the teamwork between the XVR guys. Foggy actually made sure that Warmingham had the slipstream all the way down the front straight. So Foggy was running offline to allow that toe to Warmingham, but it wasn't quite enough to hold on Halliburton. So yeah, great job from Halliburton there, working his way around the outside. Foggy 1, Halliburton 2, Richard Warmingham down to 3rd position.
Webster and Ayres having a little battle. Dan just hasn't been able to show the pace that he had in the first race. Now, has got a bit of wing damage there, just looking at the rear left, or the right as we look at it now. But yeah, gets out of the slipstream and throws it into the sweeping left. Good move. Have to cover up here though, because Ayres trying to look back instantly. Oh, it's a bit of a late move, but in the end does just about do that. McIntyre maybe just lurking, waiting and seeing if he can capitalise on maybe a bit of a slow exit from the pair of them.
Yeah, I thought maybe McIntyre was going to get caught up in that movement there as well, but fortunately they all survive. There's very different lines. They all clamber over that horrible, horrible chicane at the crest of the hill there, but they all survive. Webster 7th, Ayres 8th, McIntyre 9th. Webster looking to try and close on Johnny Brandon next, but we know how quick Brandon is, so that is going to be a tall order. Right, what are the lap times now that Foggy and Halliburton have both... Well, Halliburton didn't quite have a clean lap, I guess, but not far off. Halliburton is still 3/10 quicker, so Halliburton that lap 3/10 quicker, even though that included the overtake of Rich Warmingham to turn 2. So now Halliburton's just half a second behind on Foggy. He's really putting the hammer down and is closing hand over fist.
Just want to quantify something that was on the timing screen there, of course, because we had a purple purple time for Foggy with the 39.9, but if I cannot bring my numbers out today, 37.99, but obviously Kane's 37.65, but that's because Kane's lap included a off-track.
Ah, excellent. That is a good question answered for me as well as the viewers on that one, so that's good. So yeah, half a second still for Halliburton on Foggy. How is Fitzpatrick and Warmingham looking? Still just a couple of seconds for each of those. So Fitzpatrick and Warmingham identical lap times last time by, so they may be holding station for the moment. Otherwise, McIntyre just 3.5 behind on Ayres, back for 8th and 9th position as well. Halliburton just lost a little bit as in those last few corners.
Yeah, 8/10 sector. I mean, sector 4, yeah, like you say, 2/10 of a second down, and maybe a tenth and a bit in sector 3 as well. So, and a bit of a wiggle there as well. So we've still got 8 minutes to go on this one though. So I'm pretty sure, showing the pace that he was a minute ago, he'll be able to reel that back in again. These two absolutely on top of their game in this car.
And yeah, Foggy upped the pace slightly again on that lap, so a new fast lap of the race, but with that little error we saw from Halliburton, just a 4/10 difference that time by. So Foggy responding to the lap time put in by Halliburton last time by. these two just in a class of their own at the minute. Nobody else able to run at their pace, and nobody else other than Foggy and that off-track Halliburton has even done a lap in the 37s as far as the timing screen is concerned. So yeah, these two just on another plane at the minute. Jacquelet just 2 tenths behind Lorne Murray, 13th and 14th position, as they head into turn 2 and 3. Both clatter that first curve. You see how horribly the Radical deals with those curves. It just takes forever to settle down and stop bouncing around on the shocks. But Jacquelet still pressuring hard into this very, very quick entry of the second chicane, and then a tricky braking for the slower second part. Hairpin next as they come up the hill. Very different line from the two of them. Very tight from Murray. Wide entry from Jacquelet. Is that really going to make any difference on exit? Jacquelet gaining a little bit. We can see in the timing on the bottom right of the screen there, but not enough to do anything before this sweeping left-hander at the top of the hill.
Definitely would have made sense if he was sort of 3/10 of a second behind. He could have spot the corner a little bit better and used the extra momentum up the hill. But yeah, just like you say, just didn't really get any advantage there, did he? Down to half a second at the front. Let's flip over and take a quick look. Less than that now as well.
Yeah, Halliburton responded with a lap time that time. Fastest lap of race from Halliburton, 37.6, 2 tenths quicker than Foggy managed. The lap before, Foggy spins on the exit of turn 3. Halliburton manages to avoid. Foggy's going to rejoin in 4th position from the looks of it. Yeah, slots in behind Sam Fitzpatrick. Safe rejoin into the circuit. Oh, Glatzel's right there actually. I missed him on the time screen. Going to have to defend from Glatzel, who's coming much quicker down the straight, of course. Glatzel on the inside now for the second part of the chicane. Foggy allows him by. And so that's going to be an interesting battle as they drive up to the hairpin. Foggy straight back on the outside. Can't really carry the momentum around the outside. Cuts straight back. Has got the position made almost before they come out the hairpin. And Foggy driving off the corner. Glatzel trying to hang in there, 600ths behind. But no, Foggy's got the spot now as they head into that sweeping left-hander. Glatzel trying to come back at him. Not giving it up though. They're back side by side. Foggy a poor mid-corner there. Foggy's going to have the inside as they come into this 2 tricky corners. Slowing it down. Can they both get it stopped? For this crest as they come up over the curb, they can. Foggy holds on. Glatzel now is having to settle for that 5th position. What a bit of frantic racing there.
Yeah, great racing. Not what we expected to happen, I have to say, but nonetheless, still great side-by-side action there for a little bit. And yeah, what that's done really is released Kane at the front, looking very strong now. He's got 5.3 seconds gap to Richard Warmingham, who actually, I have to say, did a great job from the pole position, obviously with the reverse grid. Sam Fitzpatrick in 3rd. He's got 2.6 seconds to try and hold off Nicole Foggy, closing him back up with 5 minutes to go. You know, Sam's pace one, no. I think
that's the end of that thought.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we could just see the pace of the front two are running there. Halliburton and Foggy that lap ago, they were just trading fastest lap after fastest lap, and eventually something had to give. And that time it was Foggy. I commented earlier maybe on Halliburton being the one to have issues during his races, but yeah, that time by Foggy with the unforced error, if you like. And yeah, it's unfortunate we didn't get to see that real battle for first position between the two top drivers in this series.
Indeed. Is anything unforced in this car though?
Well, not on it. It certainly didn't feel like it on this circuit earlier on stage. Trying to desperately just scrounge one lap in that was respectable that I could post up. But as you say, it was just that pure pace, wasn't it? The guys were at the absolute limits, trying to find that little bit of extra time each time, and something was always going to give.
Problem for Carl Hardy. Prior to the pits, let's see. Oh wow, that was pretty uninteresting.
Maybe the doorbell rung.
Pizza's here.
So
priorities, right?
So nice battle developing for the last 2 spots in the top 10, 9th, 10th, 11th position. We can see Stevens, McIntyre, Denton all firing through the chicane. Denton very, very wide on exit mine, loses out a little bit, dropping back now. But yeah, McIntyre looking to move forward. He's gained 11 spots from his starting position, McIntyre so far. So he's certainly looking to make that 12th and get up into a 9th position. Really interesting those last 2 corners where on the exit of the penultimate corner, you just completely ignore the race circuit and go completely up over the curb and the AstroTurf and use that as your racing line and your turning point for the final corner. And that's certainly worked for McIntyre. He's now pulled alongside Stevens to head down the front straight. McIntyre on the inside. Stevens not looking like he's going to defend at all. Backs out of it a little bit early. McIntyre does take that 9th position, makes it 12 spots gained from his starting grid. And has he got an opportunity to move any further forward? And there's 7.5 seconds to Jamie Ayres ahead. So 9th position is probably going to be the limit.
Check in with Johnny Brandon and Sven Glatzel. Brandon up 12 positions on this race as well, doing a good job, and has been about half a second quicker the last few laps. So the other XVR car is stalking Sven right now, and Sam Fitzpatrick still ahead of Foggy, 1.2 seconds. So it'll be closer than my brain initially thought, that's for sure.
Yeah, they've only got a couple of laps remaining, depending on how exactly the timer ends up as a leader crosses the start-finish line. But I said, yeah, Warmingham doing well to hold on to that podium spot for now. But yeah, 3 very, very quick guys lining up behind him. Foggy, Glatzel, Brandon. I would not want to be in front of them having to defend that podium spot with just, 1 or 2 laps remaining. So tough position maybe for Fitzpatrick there, but you always want to be, you always want to have track position and be the guy that needs to defend rather than needing to make a move to get that podium spot. McIntyre hasn't pulled straight away then from Stevens, still just 4 tenths between him, and Denton's got himself right back with that group after we saw an error at the chicane last time by. Nobody closing quite enough to make a move into turn 2, but for sure this battle isn't over.
Interesting how Denton had to adjust his line when Kip disappeared, and then all of a sudden he was shifted over to the right. So that's the joys we have with internet racing, and Kip obviously having a few issues. This is the second time I think I've seen him blink. Webster is showing as a problem for me on my timing screen. What went on for Dan? It's going to be mine.
Spun up the rears.
Oh, that's not a great camera angle, but
yeah, spun up the rears, exiting the hairpin, and just got that little tank slapper wiggle going on, and just couldn't quite get it back under control. Managed to keep it pointing straight in the end and got back up to speed, but yeah, it's a tricky traction zone there. As Brandon and Glatzel, all of a sudden, Brandon up alongside Glatzel. He's going to have the outside for the first part of the chicane. Can he do anything to stay in there? Glatzel turns in first. Brandon has to slot in behind. No way you can get 2 cars side by side through there. But yeah, Glatzel, tough couple of corners. Brandon all over the back of him again. Trying to go to the inside now for this fast corner bit. That puts him on the outside for penultimate corner. Glatzel takes the line. Can Brandon cut back? He tries. He can. Gets the overlap into the final corner. Glatzel could drive straight around the outside of him though. And I think Glatzel might get the drive off the corner. Brandon doing well to hold on, hang on in there though. Side by side it looks like they're going to be all the way down to turn 2.
Yeah, and Foggy as well in the distance, getting past Fitzpatrick. But I'm still on the replay. I haven't had a chance to bring it back live. So
Glatzel holding that line around the outside.
Fantastic.
Brandon just about giving him the car's width on the second apex there. As you say, cracking racing from the 2 there to keep themselves pointed straight. And yeah, Brandon gets that position. But we can see as we've gone back live, as you said, Alex, that battle is not over still. Brandon and Glatzel still absolutely on it as they very quickly catch up to the back of Warmingham. And Warmingham suffering big damage there. Gets out of the way. I don't blame him for not wanting to be anywhere near those 2 cars. What happened to Warmingham then as we look at the replay?
Yeah, I want to bring this battle up actually, because obviously first off you have the battle between Fitzpatrick and Foggy, but then suddenly these guys are going to jump in front of Richard. So somewhere Richard had a little mistake. There it is.
There, we saw it flash by. So yeah, so that was
on hard as well. Look at the wing damage. So yeah, back to live.
Yeah.
Oh my word, here he comes. Thought I missed the
race
finish.
Almost. Fortunately, the start-finish line is a decent way down the front straight, so Halliburton takes the win. No mistakes that time. Blows his engine in celebration as he crosses the start-finish line. Foggy recovers from that uncharacteristic mistake, takes second position. Fitzpatrick does get that podium spot. A little bit of help from Warmingham as we saw, but still, nonetheless, he got that podium spot. and Brandon ending up ahead of Glatzel after their epic battle in a closing lap. Talking about epic battles, Stevens, McIntyre, Denton still not finished. Stevens got ahead of McIntyre at some point. Here comes McIntyre over the start finish line. Can he get the run? It's going to be close. He's catching. Gets it just at the line there. 11 hundredths of a second as they cross the line. McIntyre recovering that lost position during the lap. Jacqueline and Leslie. Leslie almost. Final corner. Jacqueline side by side. Both of them making mistakes in those last couple of corners. I'm going to now say Jacqueline.
Yeah.
I don't know. Leslie's suddenly having a late surge. But yeah, Jacqueline in that camo style livery, just about holding on after a real scrabble in those last couple of corners for both of those cars. Well, that race suddenly came alive in the last 2 or 3 laps thereafter. It may be looking like it was going to fizzle out again, a bit like race 1. So that was good to see at the end there. And we have a break. So Kane Halliburton then taking the race win, as we saw. Cracking pace from both him and Nicole Foggy all the way through race 2. Just that small mistake from Foggy exiting the first chicane ultimately cost him. Recovered to second position though, as we saw. Sam Fitzpatrick then holding on to that third position ahead of Johnny Brandon in 4th, with Sven Glatzel having to accept a 5th position in the end. Dan Webster in the wars, as we saw, but finishing in 6th, as was Richard Warmingham, so he managed to limp that severely damaged car home in 7th in the end. Jamie Ayres in 8th with Jack McIntyre, just scraping ahead of Stevens in 9th, so yeah, less than 200ths of a second between them. Paul Denton then in 11th with Luke Cooper in 12th. Carl Jacqueline and Stefan Leslie 13th and 14th, with Lorne Murray the last car on the lead lap, and actually the last car eligible for the reverse grid, because then the next car back is Cole Hardy, then 4 laps down, Jack Ashton 17th, Jamie Mears in 18th, James McRitchie 19th, Paul Crabb 20th, Steve Heather 21st, Eamon McCauley 22nd, and Anthony Jacobson out on the first lap in 23rd position.
Right then, spinny wheel time, reverse grid we will organise. And for those that have never sort of seen the series before and are tuning in halfway through, well, we have 3 races of a night, and the grids are determined by a spin that we of the Wheel of Fortune, hence the music that we used. And so let's see who is going to get the pole position. Of course, only drivers on the lead lap or 1 lap down can get reversed onto pole. Score 1 last time, 11th. Race 2. Final race of the night will be... Half-4 is coming into play. It's not going to get to 12th, I don't think. No, indeed. It stays on 4, so we have a full reverse grid for the final race of the night.
And so I believe I said that was going to be Cole Hardy, I think I said was the last guy on the lead lap. So we'll put a question mark over that, not trusting my memory again. But full reverse grid, that's going to be tough for the guys having to come back through the field again to challenge for a strong finishing position in race 3 tonight, our final race of the night. So again, we'll step away whilst the news session goes up, and we shall see you again in just a few minutes. Lee Thompson here again, bringing you another hot lap in preparation for tonight's BSR Radical Thursday, this week from Imola. So real technical circuit for the guys to have to negotiate in this Radical. Lots of compromises to be made with racing lines. You have fast entries leading into slower corners, and let alone the curbs on this circuit as well. The Radical just does not like dealing with them. So here we are then working our way down towards turn 2, first chicane. The braking marker on the right is going to be the 100-meter board, down into 3rd gear. Little bit of curb on both apexes, but just avoid the rumble strips, and after that should be flat through Tamburello here if you get your line right, and you're preparing then for Villeneuve next chicane. Super quick entry, but it's tricky because you've got to be then slowing it down for the second part, so that's one of the compromises with your racing line as to where that balance is going to be. Down into 2nd gear at the 50-meter board, hug the inside of a hairpin as long as you can to drive out using that camber of the corner, working your way then up towards turn 8. As you come over the crest, brake marker again is going to be the 50-meter board, just down into 4th gear. Let the car turn in and then try and get hard on the power as soon as you can. that you got to allow the car to run out over the rumble strip. Super tricky braking again here. Fast entry, like I said, slowing down for this second right-hander down into second gear, driving it out off the crest, and then you got a real tough chicane come up with Varianza outer. Down into second gear at the 50-meter board. I just couldn't use the curbs on either side, but look how much the car is bouncing around, even though I just barely touched each curb. Super tough for the guys there tonight. Coming down towards the end of the lap now then, turn 14 and 15 coming up, two left-handers. Early braking downhill. It's really tricky trying to turn in, missed the apex on this one, using all of his curb on the outside look, and then the same for this final corner as well. Driving off towards the start-finish line, and that is going to be a lap done at Imola. As I say, I found it really tough here today. It's going to be a 1 minute 38.7 for this lap. I reckon the guys are going to be probably a second quicker than that at the sharp end of the grid. Expect a 37.5, I think, for pole position. So Apex Racing TV tonight, 8:15 for BSR Radical Thursday.
cleared. Punch it. Great job, you did really well.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Trunkgate goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
For their game in this car.
And yeah, Foggy upped the pace slightly again on that lap, so new. Welcome back to BSR Radical Thursday. Lee Thompson, Alex Simpson bringing you the final race of the night, race 3. As you can see, the guys are already lined up on the back of the circuit for another safety car start. That worked out pretty well last time by. Starting grid is Lorne Murray on pole position. Was not Cole Hardy, my memory let me down unfortunately. Lorne Murray on pole position, Stefan Leslie lining up in second. Carl Jacquelet in third, Luke Cooper in fourth, Paul Denton fifth with Kip Stevens in sixth, Jack McIntyre seventh with Jamie Ayres in eighth, Richard Warmingham in ninth with Dan Webster in 10th, Sven Glatzel 11th, Johnny Brandon in 12th, 13th Sam Fitzpatrick, 14th Nicole Foggy, 15th Kane Halliburton, 16th Cole Hardy, Jack Ashton in 17th with Jamie Mears in 18th, James McRitchie in 19th, 20th Paul Crabb, 21st Steve Hefford, 22nd Eamon McCauley, and as the cars ran the final corner, Anthony Jacobson in 23rd position. So safety car is about to peel off. Lorne Murray going to be leading the guys to the lights. He gasses it on straight away. Lorne Murray goes early. Stefan Leslie was pretty ready, didn't get left behind too far, but Luke Cooper, is right with him. The timing screen just updated to me get the names. So Lorne Murray defending on the inside as they head towards turn 2. Stefan Leslie on the outside. Can he sweep around the outside into turn 3? He can. Stefan Leslie taking the lead for now, but Murray trying to come back at him. No, nothing happening this time. Cooper got a good run now on the outside as they come through the second chicane. And 2x2 all the way down the field. Kane Halliburton maybe off in the background as well. Looks like it was. He's falling back. And Cooper holding on to third position. He just dropped back a little bit through that chicane there. Jamie Ayres looking like he is the man on the move. Up the inside of Cooper on the middle of the hairpin. He's going to get the drag off the corner. Front two scampering away, but this battle for third place is continuing on.
Yeah, great battle as well for third. Back still pretty much on top of each other. No mistakes, no accidents or anything so far. Let's hope I don't curse it. But a much better start for the final one of the evening.
Oh, and we hear the tyres squealing as I head through there. Luke Cooper has a struggle through that section of the circuit. Ayres all over the back end as well. McIntyre trying to get through as well. Cooper's going to have the inside of the first part of the chicane. Can they all get it stopped? Camera just cuts away at the wrong time. Cooper and Ayres tangle. McIntyre gets his way through. And I hear further contact in the back of the field as well. Hefford, Warmingham going backwards. Yeah, big pile up in the chicane there.
Yeah, see if we can see what happened to... Oh, and Kane possibly involved in it as well. Let's have a little look. I think he just checked up more than no, just got a little tag as well. Yep. So and around. Yeah, the Warman we just missed that one. But right, back to the live action.
Right, so Stefan Leslie then still in the lead as Cooper and Jacquelet battle into turn 2. Cooper takes the inside a little bit deep. Jacquelet's not quite going to be able to go. Going to be able to get the cutback as they come out then of the Tamburello. But yeah, Cooper has that position secured for now. So Leslie, Murray, McIntyre, Cooper, Jacquelet, Denton, Fitzpatrick, Brandon, Ayres and Glatzel rounding up the top 10. Very close to Brandon and Ayres. I think Brandon has made that position since we last looked at Ayres. And yeah, Glatzel looking to stick his nose in on the inside of the hairpin as well.
Not really sure where to look right now. There's just
busy
going on.
So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th at the minute. Then we're looking at Cooper at the front of your queue. We can see Jacquelet going wide through the bottom of the circuit there. He's going to have a struggle, I think, to hold off Denton as they drag up the hill towards the chicane. Here comes Denton on the outside. Can he be brave and try and throw it in? He tries to go too wide. Jacquelet gets a bit crossed up. Somehow they survive. Car on the inside is going to get the run as well. That was going to be Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick just about going to get the spot on Denton. Is he? Jacquelet back on the grass somehow alongside Brandon. Brandon gets that spot. Fitzpatrick on the inside of Denton holds that position. Can everyone get it stopped to take their line? They can. So Fitzpatrick, Denton, Brandon, and as you say, yeah, Jacquelet spinning on the inside of the circuit there. He was on the grass on 3 separate occasions in the last 4 corners there, I think. So tough section of the circuit there. Fitzpatrick desperately defending from Denton. He's got the run. Brandon is coming very, very quickly as well. Fitzpatrick on the inside, Denton on the outside. Who's going to get it stopped? Denton tries to take that line around the outside. Good positioning from both of them. Gives himself space. Denton returns a favoured. Brandon, Fitzpatrick just gives Denton a little touch on the inside there as Brandon goes to the inside as well. Difficult camera angle to see from Royals whether Denton squeezed or Fitzpatrick just needed to give up the position slightly.
Someone else off in the background as well. It's going to have a quick look actually. Maybe jump up in the chopper, give us a good idea exactly what went on there.
Great positioning initially for that first chicane. And then a little bit of lag.
Code involved in there as well, unfortunately, which doesn't help. But I think
it's a shame. It looked pretty good from both of them.
Yeah, I have to say, I think they give each other enough room there, so it's just unfortunate. Denton will be. Well, I don't think he'll be necessarily happy in the car though, because obviously when you haven't looked at the replay back, you will always fear that it was the other driver that got. Oh, that was Johnny Brandon into the water. That's.
Yeah, uncharacteristic mistake from Brandon there as he was making his way well up through the field there. We'd already seen him gain several positions along that starting couple of laps. So Brandon looking like he was then going to retire as well. It looks like he was stopping at the entrance to the chicane. Fitzpatrick and Foggy now, we saw them battling in the last race. Fitzpatrick trying to defend on the inside. Foggy going to drive around the outside. Can he quite get the sweep round in the final corner? He can't. Gets the outside curb, gets the AstroTurf, drives straight around him by the exit. Didn't quite do enough to Fitzpatrick there, but he's trying to come back at Foggy now, moves out the slipstream, and they're going to be running all the way down towards turn 2. So Fitzpatrick on the outside again, Foggy on the inside. Surely Foggy's going to get that position, but Fitzpatrick uncharacteristically does not just play the percentages, and it does not work out for him. This time he's going to get all crossed up as well. And Fitzpatrick defended hard from Foggy, valiant effort, but I wonder if Fitzpatrick's going to curse himself for one time. He doesn't play the percentages that we see. It bites him. So unfortunate for Sam there. McIntyre in the lead.
Spots already as well, wasn't he? So it would have made sense.
So I think since we've been away, McIntyre's got the position on Murray and Leslie. So yeah, Jack McIntyre 1.6 seconds in the lead. I don't think we saw that unless I've just wiped that from my memory. Clatters the curb on the bottom of the circuit there as well. But yeah, Murray and Leslie presumably having a bit of a come together and dropping behind. But they are still battling hard for second position.
Watch it here.
Here we go. Oh, so McIntyre was already with them then. 3-car battle going over the start-finish line. Oh, 3 wide. It's not. Well, we know it's not going to work out. McIntyre deepest and latest on the brakes. He gets it stopped. And so Murray and Leslie are fine. Okay, no, there was no instance. McIntyre just drove straight through the middle of him and is scampering away at a rate of knots 2.5 seconds down the road.
Yeah, impressive move. Full commitment, and I think if you're going to go for something like that, you've really got to go for it,
Very close with, this battle, Leslie, Mayers, Glatzel. Oh, so Leslie then dropped back. We just saw him at the sharp end just a second ago, so Leslie's had an issue then. Almost going to be 3 wide again as I head towards turn 2. Mayer's got the inside. Leslie almost runs into the back of him, has to back out of it. Glatzel gets caught up behind as well, but fortunately they all survive. And Leslie and Glatzel just lost a bit of momentum due to the accordion there. So where are our big hitters in the field at the minute? Nicole Foggy currently 4th, gains 10 positions from the start. Kane Halliburton 10th. We saw him have a little bit of an issue earlier on at the chicane, gained 5 positions. And so then Glatzel, 9th, gained 2 positions as we're seeing. Just behind Leslie. Leslie goes very, very wide. Glatzel's going to have that position unless he got taken out. Did he? Watch the time on screens. I think Glatzel got away with it. As the camera cut away on my screen, looks like Leslie was spearing straight into the side of Glatzel, but somehow missed him. And Murray having an issue as well. Murray now falling down the field from 2nd position. So here's the replay then of Leslie. How close does he come to Glatzel as he spears across? Oh, he gave him a little touch, but somehow Glatzel survives it. A little bit of netcode maybe working in Glatzel's favour there, it looked like as well. But very, very lucky for the pair of them for that not to be a little bit worse. McIntyre, still in the lead, sorry. Luke Cooper then in 2nd, and Nicole Foggy coming quickly in 3rd position. Foggy just 0.8 of a second behind Luke Cooper now as they head to turn 2. Kane Halliburton continuing to move his way up the field as well. 7th position now, 8 places gained. Looking like he's going to make a move any moment on Jamie Mayers as well, just 2 tenths back. But Foggy catching Cooper hand over fist. He was 8 tenths back when I looked a second ago. Now he's running into the back of his gearbox. They go through the chicane. Super quick through the middle of the corner. Foggy's just going to drive straight up to the outside. How brave is he going to be, though, as they head up to their sweeping left-hander already through and past. Cooper backs out of it, and Foggy moves very quickly up into 2nd position. But now he's got a big ask. Half the race remaining. He needs to gain 4.5 seconds on a pretty quick tonight. Jack McIntyre. Oh, Foggy has a wiggle coming out of the bottom of the circuit there.
Stay quick, but it's a second difference to the last lap. So, you know, at that sort of pace, he's going to get there. In 1 minute 38 laps, you know, there's half the race to go. We're expecting at least another 6 laps, so you know he's going to give him a couple of laps to try and get by.
McRitchie falling down the field a little bit, just lost 2 or 3 spots in a row, so we'll see what happened to him. Heading up to the tricky chicane at the top of the hill here. Is he just going to clatter the curb? It just has a bit of a wiggle almost before he gets to the first apex. I think just lock the rears on turning, and fortunate to keep it out of the wall and just lose those 3 spots it was. Kane Halliburton now all of a sudden up into 5th when I said he was in 9th just a lap ago.
Yeah, incredible performance. He's had some great pace tonight and showing it really out there now.
Oh, gives that inside curb a huge whack there, just Halliburton. We see the car bouncing around, just not wanting to settle back down, but somehow he keeps it pointing forward and doesn't lose any momentum at all. The speed difference through that second chicane there between Crab and Halliburton as well. Halliburton just able to carry the line, and same into the hairpin, almost runs into the back of Crab there. Different apex speeds was huge, and Halliburton drives straight past, almost as we saw Foggy do. So again, Foggy and Halliburton, we can see the difference in their pace compared to the rest of the field's almost tripping up over the guys they're trying to get their way by. So yeah, Foggy in 2nd, Halliburton in 4th. What sort of gap have we got between those two? Yeah, more than 5 seconds between Foggy and Halliburton. So that is not going to be a race we're going to see unless there's an issue for Foggy. So otherwise, rest of the field has maybe just settled down a little bit more for now. So 4th, 5th, 6th, just a second or so between each of those. Jack Ashton 9th with a spinning Sam Fitzpatrick, recovering from his damage earlier on. Yeah, Jack Ashton. Yeah, it was perhaps just a spinning Fitzpatrick that I saw on the timing screen him flash by. So Ashton is now all on his lonesome.
It's a strange race because we had very good sort of first lap, no real incidents or anything, and then we're down to 12 runners. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a punishing circuit to be able to hit your marks, and this car on this track I found in this setup, and how much of it is the car or the setup or the track, it just wants to kill you at every corner. And how the top guys are running these kind of paces and hitting their marks, it's difficult to know. But for everyone else who's a bit more human, yeah, we can see just the attrition rate, yeah, crazy high in this final race. And it's, you know, we see half the grid missing occasionally, and that's normally from some huge pile up, as you say, on lap 1, and that's certainly not been the case here.
So with our leader, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll say back at the top. Last time we looked, I believe I said Foggy was 4.5 seconds back, and as you said, Alex, Foggy was certainly closing on McIntyre, down to within 3 seconds now. Wasn't quite a second he gained last time by though, so McIntyre trying to hold his own, just over half a second that Foggy gained last time around. So how long we've got left? 7 minutes, 3 seconds, half a second a lap. If McIntyre can keep that pace up, that is going to be very close coming to the end of the race. Oh, he runs wide in a penultimate corner, takes a huge chunk of grass, and for sure going to lose a bit of time there. Nearly a second he's lost just on that corner there for McIntyre, but did well to get it pointed back on the black stuff again and try and regain his focus. So yeah, what lap time difference we got that time? Yeah, 2.5 difference that time due to that error.
Yeah, it's super important not to. This is the thing, you know, when you're in hunted down, you just got to absolutely focus on what you're doing, hit your marks, and just make sure that you don't give away, you know, a tenth or two here and there and everywhere through just basically watching your relative. So I think perhaps what McIntyre did there. To be fair though, Jack's a really established driver as well, so perhaps not quite at one with this car yet, but of course did a great job in the Race of Champions event recently as well. So all the way to the finals, and
Halliburton, sorry Alex, making a move on Cooper.
Oh yeah, get that. Straight through. I'll bring that back on replay as we missed it while I was rabbiting on.
Yeah, so just driving out that hairpin. So both Halliburton and Foggy seem so quick through that hairpin that they can just get the drive and coming up to this sweeping left corner. And again, Halliburton through really before the corner had arrived. 1.6 seconds now between McIntyre and Foggy. I think it's looking more and more ominous as Luke Cooper falling down the field now. Issue for Luke Cooper, falling from 4th position all the way down now to 8th. So he's had an issue somewhere out the back of the circuit.
Let's take us for a lap around this circuit. Lee on board with Nicole Foggy?
Yeah, so Nicole Foggy then, what a car to be on board with. We're going to see how these absolute aliens can get this car around this circuit. So coming up to turn 2, 100 meter board on the right. That's your brake marker, at least for me anyway. 3rd gear, bit of curb on both of them. Careful on the power initially, bouncing the car over the curve. Should be flat through Tamburello here, running wide over the exit curb. Super quick entry to this first part of the chicane, but then you've got to be slowing the car through the middle of the corner, ready for that tighter second apex. Here's our hairpin where we've seen Foggy and Halliburton both getting these good drives. 2nd gear, a little bit towards the middle of the circuit for Foggy there. I thought he might have taken a little bit of a tighter line, but again, that just shows where the time can be found. As we come over the crest, 50 meter board, 4th gear, flick it in, run out wide all over that exit curb and the AstroTurf as well. Just got to be careful feeding the power back on. Trickiest section on the circuit for me here, braking down the hill, slowing the car down through the previous corner. We can hear the tyres squealing in protest for Foggy, but he gets through. Up over the crest, here's our tricky chicane, 50 meter board against a brake marker, 2nd gear. I couldn't take the curbs, but the guys are jumping all over the curbs every single lap. I was just getting killed every time I touched those curbs. And we can see how much he's closed on McIntyre just through that chicane as much as anything else, let alone the rest of the lap. 2 more corners to go. Down the hill, we've got to brake really early because of the downhill section. Getting it turned in, up over the curb. Just stay up on the curb as you turn in for the final corner. Drive back out onto the front straight. And that's a lap round Imola with Nicole Foggy. That's how it's done, and we're going to see into turn 2 challenge for the lead. So McIntyre goes defensive then on the inside. Foggy moves to the outside early. How hard is McIntyre going to push this? Foggy braking hard and late on the outside. McIntyre tries to hold the inside, has a bit of a twitch, gets it slowed down. Foggy bails out of it. McIntyre, great job getting the car stopped, holding the car. We could see it trying to step out from underneath him, and survives that threat from Nicole Foggy. Right, 6th, 7th, 8th into turn 2 here. Cooper and Mayers. Cooper on the outside. Mayers runs a little bit wide and deep, and just the apex did not line up for the two of them there. Cooper gets spinned around. McRitchie comes out on top, moves up to 6th.
It was just the merest of touches, but it's just enough in these cars, isn't it, just to get them loose. Exactly what happened. Foggy back to within 0.3 of a second then at the front.
Yeah, it's a super quick recovery from Foggy right back onto McIntyre. He's going to have this lap and one more, it looks like, to get this top spot on the podium. Halliburton running in 3rd. Yeah, still 7 seconds behind, so he is looking very secure for that 3rd spot. Through the chicane for McIntyre and Foggy, both using all of that exit curb and the AstroTurf. Yeah, McIntyre doing a great job this last couple of laps to hold off Foggy. And all he needs to make sure he does is doesn't at least bind it, and at very worst he's going to get a pretty comfortable 2nd position. Right, back out into the front straight, less than 0.3 between Foggy and McIntyre. Foggy's going to be in a very strong position again as they head towards turn 2. 10th and a half as they cross the start-finish line. McIntyre already defensive, Foggy already alongside on the outside line, ready for turn 2. How's it going to shape up this time? McIntyre again gives it everything. Oh, big clobber of the inside curb, just about manages not to push out towards Foggy. Good driving from both of them. Foggy takes their position, but not after a valiant defence from McIntyre there. As soon as I saw McIntyre go up on that curb, I was fearing the worst for both those cars.
Yeah, they survive. And talk about survival, these two have been in the wars a little bit tonight, but Fitzpatrick and Ashton going at it.
Ashton trying to work his way around the outside. Fitzpatrick though, oh, Ashton having a spin on the exit of turn 3. Yeah, Fitzpatrick had that move covered for that corner, but it was worth trying for Ashton there. Nothing gained, nothing lost, and he's still just going to keep his 10th position anyway. So it looks like the rest of the field has pretty much settled themselves down as we're on the depending on where Foggy is, could well be the final lap. Foggy, McIntyre, Halliburton, Crab and Glatzel our top 5. As we see now, Foggy, yeah, just about, I think, going to cross the line after the timer is going to tick. It's going to be very, very close. They managed that 13th lap last time by, but he's already down to 10 seconds. But I think we are going to scrape it. So he's going to just about go on to lap 13, but yeah, cutting it much finer this time by.
Yeah, he couldn't afford to lift, could he? And get it won by that one, so we have one more lap to go.
So McIntyre's hanging with Foggy as they head into turn 2 there. Not dropped off the back at all, just half a second behind still. The only other battle that looks like could doing anything is McRitchie and Mayers, 6/10 of a second between them. But they're looking fairly static. Lap times have been, well, Mayers was 4/10 quicker last time by, to be fair. And he's close to, what, half a second as they turn into turn 2 there. So could be a last gasp opportunity for Mayers on his Craig Setup Shop teammate for that 6th position. But I think we're probably going to find this last lap is going to remain status quo all the way through the field. Foggy back in the lead, just needing to stroke it home for this final half lap. McIntyre rather still just keeping in his mirrors half a second behind. Yeah, so it's been a cracking exhibition on pure outright pace from Foggy and Halliburton, just being the 2 quickest drivers in the field by quite a way. But cracking drive from many of the other guys trying to hold off their charge through the field as well. McIntyre almost doing enough, just coming up 2 laps short for the race win. Nicole Foggy, another race win, race 3, BSR Radical Thursday. And McIntyre does bring it home in that 2nd position. Kane Halliburton, then 7 seconds back, is going to get that final podium position, coming through, gaining 12 positions from his grid slot. And so Mayers has closed within 3/10 of McRitchie as they come out of the final corner, but it's not going to be enough of a draft and a drag down to the start-finish line. He'll close, but not quite enough. McRitchie holds onto that 6th position as expected. So yeah, maybe one more lap there for Mayers, and he could have had a decent chance at that 6th position. So quite a frantic night's racing. We had lots of little individual pockets of battles, but yeah, so many errors. I'm reluctant to even call them errors really, but yeah, so many little issues for the guys trying to deal with this car on this track. And yeah, we really saw the attrition rate on that one, as you say, 12 finishes in the final race of a good 23.
Yeah, crazy at the end there. I'm not sure if something was going on with the stream. I apologise. We've had some issues with sound tonight. I don't really know why the capture isn't working quite properly. It's just the sound's just massively delayed, and I don't know if that's what's going on. I can't hear the sound when the stream is on, obviously, because we'd have a massive 30-second loop. But yeah, I'm just a bit concerned. Obviously, we lost everybody at the end there, so yeah, apologies for that. We'll try and get that rectified for next week. There was nothing I could do while we were live, unfortunately. I tried. So, but nonetheless, we still had some good racing out there tonight. I have enjoyed calling it with you, Lee. I think we do have the final classifications in for the 3rd race.
There you go, Nicole Foggy, as we saw, taking what turned out not to be an easy race win from Jack and McIntyre, just grabbing it just a lap and a half, 2 laps from the end there. Kane Halliburton then finishing 8 seconds in the end back from McIntyre in third, Paul Crabben in fourth with Sven Glatzel in fifth. James McRitchie did hold off Jamie Mayers, as we saw, for sixth position and seventh. Sam Fitzpatrick then bringing the damaged car home back in eighth. Luke Cooper in ninth, with Jack Ashton then in 10th. Anthony Jacobson in 11th, and Lon Murray was our last finisher in 12th position, leaving Leslie, Macaulay, Denton, Brandon, Ayres, Jacquelet, Stevens, Webster, Hardy, Warmingham, and Hefford all multiple laps down due to incidents and damage. So, as you say, yeah, nearly half the field there that we lost through race 3. It wasn't quite that bad, fortunately, for the first 2 races, but I was relieved and pleased for the guys that we really didn't have a huge pile up in any of the races. Easily through one of chicane, somebody could have got crossed up, and that could have been it for half the field.
Indeed. Right, we're obviously on our TeamSpeak server as well today, so if any of you got the details, come in, but if not, we will catch up with you next week. Yeah, like I say, I'm just a bit gutted that we had the issues again tonight. We just seem to be struggling with this series. Something always crops up. It doesn't matter if it's been Andrew streaming on me, you know, it's just we're seeing doomedly.
We're doomed. Well, so nonetheless, so as I say, yeah, good night's racing all round. For once, I'm not organised, and I don't have instantly to hand where we are for next week. So I'm going to ramble for a moment whilst I just double check where that is going to be. And he hits his button, and it magically comes up. Right. So next week we are going to be. No, that was the wrong button. I'm dead in the water.
Off the top of my head, exactly. I'm trying to as well.
I think once you know the next race for one of these BSR events is sorted, then you're sorted for all of them. But yeah, many clicks following. No doubt, whichever it's going to be a slightly easier time for the guys than they've had this week. As I said, perhaps that was part of the low grid turnout this week. Hopefully so. Interlagos, well, certainly a challenging track again, but I think one that's should be more kind to the Radicals. You still got to get up and over the curbs in lots of different places, certainly on the infield, but I don't think it's gonna punish you quite so much. And you certainly got the opportunity to stretch a Radical's legs at the end of a lap and the start of a lap. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a bit more inviting for the regulars.
Awesome stuff, right? Well, mate, I think we'll wrap the show up. Been a pleasure as always. Thank you to all the drivers. BSR obviously putting on the series. We'll be back next for Interlagos. That'll be a fantastic one. Almost made perfect for this car, I think. Great racing. We'll be back next week. Racing TV. Yeah, don't forget to jump on Sunday as well. Saturday Euro V8 Supercar, and Sunday we've got the Formula Renault 3.5 series as well. So tune in, watch the guys there. We'll be back. See you. Right, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sound muted. Sound resumed.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sound muted.
And the start of a lap. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a bit more inviting for the regulars.
Awesome stuff, right? Well, mate, I think we'll wrap the show up. Been a pleasure, as always. Thank you to all the drivers. BSR, obviously.
Yeah, so just driving out that hairpin. So both Halliburton and Foggy seem so quick through that hairpin that they can just get the drive then coming up to this sweeping left corner. And again, Halliburton through really before the corner had arrived. 1.6 seconds now between McIntyre and Foggy. I think it's looking more and more ominous as Luke Cooper falling down the field now. Issue for Luke Cooper falling from 4th position all the way down now to 8th. So he's had an issue somewhere out the back of the circuit.
Let's take us for a lap around this circuit. Lee on board with Nicole Foggy.
But it's going to be a tall order with then Halliburton surely following through as well. Fitzpatrick, as you say, didn't defend too hard on Halliburton earlier on, but he knows he's still got a decent